Copywriting is the only skill that consistently prints money during a recession. While everyone else wastes years learning complex coding or chasing dropshipping trends, the wealthiest freelancers are quietly using a simple three-step formula to extract five-figure fees from businesses in a single afternoon. You don't need a degree or a massive audience to start. Today, I'm breaking down the exact blueprint you need to master this craft and replace your salary permanently. It is something very few copywriters actually utilize, but it works better than any other psychological trigger in the industry. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let us get to work. Consider the story of Eugene Schwartz, a legendary copywriter who famously charged $10,000 for a single letter in the 1960s. In today's money, that is closer to $100,000. He did not use fancy graphics or expensive software. He understood a single fundamental mechanism that turned readers into buyers every single time. That mechanism is known as direct response copywriting. It is not just about writing pretty words or creative fiction. It is about writing words that force a specific, measurable action. You need to understand that every word on your screen has a cost and a value. If your writing does not persuade, it is just noise. Let us start with the first pillar, the power of the hook. If you cannot grab attention in the first 3 seconds, you have already lost the reader. A classic study by the American Psychological Association found that the average human attention span is now shorter than that of a goldfish, sitting at roughly 8 seconds. This means your opening sentence must be an immediate solution to a painful problem. Stop trying to be clever. Start being useful. When I started writing for an e-commerce brand, I was getting terrible conversion rates because my headlines were too passive. I changed my strategy to address the specific fear of the customer, and within 14 days, our click-through rate jumped by 40%. It is not magic. It is simple math. When you identify a specific pain point, like saving money on groceries or finding more time in the morning, you tap into a biological imperative to solve that problem. Your writing needs to be a bridge between where the reader is now and where they desperately want to be. Now, let us level up to the second point, which is the art of the value stack. This is where most amateur writers fail because they list features instead of benefits. People do not buy products. They buy a better version of themselves. If you are selling a vacuum cleaner, do not tell me about the motor speed and rotations per minute. Tell me that it cleans my carpet in half the time so I can actually play with my kids instead of doing chores. This is the transition from what it is to what it does for me. If this is starting to click for you, hit the subscribe button. I put out deep dives like this every single week, and I want to make sure you see the next one. You have to understand that your reader is inherently lazy. They want to reach the goal with the least amount of friction possible. When you stack the value by showing them exactly how their life changes after using your service or product, you move from being a cost to being an investment. I remember working with a fitness coach who was struggling to get leads. He was listing his certifications, his degrees, and his years of experience. Nobody cared. We completely flipped his copy to focus on how his clients felt waking up without back pain after just 21 days. He tripled his client load in a single month. All right, now for the one I have been saving for you. This is the most powerful high leverage skill in the world of writing, and almost nobody does it well. It is called pattern interruption. Your brain is wired to ignore repetitive information, which is why you scroll past most ads without even realizing it. To succeed, you have to break the status quo of the reader's internal narrative. You do this by saying the one thing they least expect to hear. It is about psychological alignment. Think about the most successful campaigns of the last decade. They never start with "we are the best." They start with "you've been lied to about X" or "forget everything you know about Y." This creates an immediate cognitive dissonance that forces the reader to keep reading to resolve the tension. It is the ultimate retention hack. In a 2022 study, researchers found that headlines containing a pattern interrupt or a surprising truth had a conversion rate 3 times higher than conventional headlines. Let that sink in. 3 times higher. Most people are too scared to be controversial or to challenge the norms of their industry. But the writers who get paid the most are the ones who aren't afraid to polarize the audience. They know that if you try to please everyone, you please no one. If you want to master this, start keeping a swipe file of headlines that actually stopped you mid-scroll. Analyze why they worked. Was it the fear? Was it the curiosity? Was it the surprising claim? Once you see it this way, you can never unsee it. You will start noticing the patterns in every single email you open and every website you visit. It becomes a superpower. You are no longer just writing. You are engineering human decisions. The best part is that this skill is location independent. Whether you are in a coffee shop in Paris or your living room in Ohio, the rules of human psychology remain the same. It is the ultimate recession-proof skill because businesses will always pay for someone who can generate more revenue than they cost. So, We cover the hook to capture attention, the value stack to build desire, and pattern interruption to force conversion. These three tools are the foundation of any high paid writing career. You do not need a degree in journalism or a background in marketing to start. You just need to practice these specific techniques on every piece of content you write from this moment forward. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend who is trying to build an online income, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video where we break down the specific templates you can use to start landing your first high paying clients. See you in the next one.